guys, this is Thea. Thank you for dropping by. I'm back for another video. And for today's vlog, I'll be sharing with you the part 2 of our video about mental health. I wanted to apologize as well for the delay. The release of this video got delayed because of some unforeseen circumstances. But if you're still interested to watch this video, just keep on watching. But before that, don't forget to subscribe. Tap the notification bell so that you will be notified on my next video, same as like this, that you might find helpful and encouraging. So if you're ready, let's start.
In terms of lifestyle change, when you're going through that, it's difficult to think about changing your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi if someone's going through depression, it's like there's no hope, hopeless na, walang
Mm-hmm.
motivation to do things. It's difficult to look for motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Pero what I'm really blessed with is, oh, and by the way, it's difficult also to share it with people at church
Mm-hmm.
kasi you would always in my case at least you would always have this thinking na hindi naman nila ako maintindihan, and
Mm-hmm.
when you try to, you would, not all of course, but sometimes when you try to share these things, a lot of people would just say na wala kang faith, o kaya di ka nagpe-pray, kulang ka sa prayer and fasting.
Mm-hmm.
And mind you, when I was going through, those things, when I was diagnosed, I was always really going to church kasi, and I also grew up as a Christian. And
Mm-hmm.
I was feeling so bad kasi, di ba, I was thinking na, di ba dapat sa church ko mararanasan yung, the comfort, the
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
understanding.
that's right.
And again, I'm not saying all, pero unfortunately, there are still really some people who do not understand yet
Mm-hmm.
na, these things are real, na kung paano tayo nagkakasakit physically. Ganun din
Yes, that's right.
mentally, unfortunately. And, but in terms of lifestyle change, I'd really say na sobrang laking bagay na there are people na nag-reach out sa'yo. Kahit
Mm-hmm.
na sometimes you would be hesitant na natulungan ka,
Mm-hmm.
we would always need people. And that's what I was able to get. Um, and I really thank God for that. And also, just to share,
Mm-hmm.
na I was able to, like what you said, we're advocating for this. Through my experience,
Mm-hmm.
the Lord was able to open an opportunity for like a ministry, a mental health ministry in
Mm-hmm.
our church. So I realized na yun pala yun.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I would ask, bakit ko pa ba naranasan yun? Or bakit ko pa ba
Exactly.
naranasan yun? Pero, I mean, the Lord knows best. Kahit maybe I wouldn't get the answers na kung why
Yeah.
explaining. Pero, siguro dun na rin pumapasok yung trust more kay Lord. And that's where I was able to realize more
Mm-hmm.
how to actually cope better
Mm-hmm.
and do it in a sense na not to really get rid of, let's say, these mental health problems, but to actually take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's what the lifestyle change would be for me.
I see. I will, I would agree on that part, yung hindi ka maintindihan, especially, well, not all, but there are
Yeah.
some people in the church sometimes will not be able to understand that why you're having suicidal thoughts. You're Christian. You're supposed to have strong faith and all. So, any encouraging words for this, especially, ang napansin ko ngayon, mostly na nakaka-experience ngayon is youth.
Yeah.
Because of the stress of the setup ng kanilang
Yeah.
online school. So, do you think how can you encourage them to really in this season, especially kahit na nasa church naman tayo, they will still experience those things.
Just to also parang better understand why a lot of people kind of stigmatize mental
Mm.
health problems is because number one, there's actually stigma around the world,
Yeah.
hindi lang sa Pilipinas. But in the Philippines kasi, it was just in 2018, 2 years ago, June 2018, wherein when nagkaroon tayo ng mental health law.
Oo.
And that mental health law basically is to protect, take care of the mental health, hindi lang ng mga may mental health problems, but also of their families.
Mhm.
And kasama rin dun yung psychoeducation, having training, workshop, information dissemination on mental health. Now, the thing is, it's been a long time. Imagine 2 years ago lang tayo nagkaroon ng mental health law sa Philippines. And I'd say na the reason why a lot of people, hindi lang sa church, would parang judge some of those na nakaka-experience ng mental health like us, is because hindi pa rin talaga sila knowledgeable.
Mhm.
Lalo na nga tayo dito sa Philippines, a lot of us are still not yet that knowledgeable na these are real illnesses. Maybe sometimes meron din na it would, depend on the faith, pero not all, because it's a real illness. There are doctors, there are professionals, mental health professionals who would actually, you know, uh, who studied a lot, who studied years para lang matulungan yung mga taong nakakaranas ng mental health problems. And you're right na lalo na ngayon, a lot of people are going through mental health problems also because of our situation
Mhm.
and now with the pandemic
Mhm.
and everything's being done online, diba?
Yeah.
There are just a lot of things. And you mentioned about the youth then. Actually, I was able to attend a seminar, and she actually there's this psychologist. She's Dr. Myla Pamplona, and she shared na all the young people talaga would actually have a tendency to compare themselves,
Mhm.
especially sa mga nakikita sa mga nakikita online. And unfortunately, of course, that could also further lead to, to depression.
Mhm.
And again, kasi, there's this social media envy. That's it. There's this
Yeah.
social media envy. And I'd say that na, let me quote from, again, this was presented by Dr. Myla Pamplona. She said na social media envy is a moderate significant predictor of symptoms of depression among Filipino high school students. And actually, when we would look at statistics talaga, there's a significant, I'd say, na percentage in the Philippines that would tell among the young people na nagkaroon talaga ng tendencies of or have attempted suicide or may anxiety and depression. So, I'd say na in coping with, the situation that we have now, katulad ng nabanggit ko kanina, dealing with mental health problems is really very individualized.
Mhm.
It's never a one size fits all.
Mhm.
There are, for example, what's good for me may not work for you or for
Mhm.
others, and vice versa. Pero one of the things that, again, I'm so blessed to have developed, the Lord, I would say the Lord allowed me to develop, is which I also use in some talks and invitations like this that I would get, is cope.
Mhm.
So let me share with you cope. Yan.
Mhm.
So when I say cope, a while ago we said na the World Health Organization said na if we can cope with different stresses of life, that means that, and with the other things na na-mention ko kanina, that means we have good mental health.
Mhm.
So, let me share cope. Letter C is to actually care.
Mhm.
So, when we say care, one is well, there are two things. One is caring for yourself and caring for other people. So that's very important. It's about learning how to be kinder sa mga sarili natin and also to be kind to other people.
Yeah.
As what they say, it's a cliche but it's true na how can we help others kung hindi pa tayo buo or full, you
Mm-hmm.
know? But sometimes also we can also help other people even though we're, going through something. In fact, that will help us then sa well-being natin. But the main thing is it's very important to care for ourselves, to take care of ourselves and other people. And dun pumapasok yung self-care.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we can learn how to practice self-care, and I'm also learning myself, if we can learn how to practice self-care, that means we can actually learn how to take care of our mental
Yeah.
health. Diba? And if we can do that, we would be able to help others all the more. So that's number one. So to care for yourself and for other people. That's very important. And the second one is O, which is open up.
Mm-hmm.
So open up, there are two things again. One is opening up your thoughts, your emotions to others, or being open, opening your ears and your heart para naman mag-share sa'yo yung ibang tao. But what I would say is opening up it should always be for the best.
Yeah.
Ibig sabihin, we have to consider the best time
Mm-hmm.
and what we believe and what we hopefully we would pray for would be the best people to open up to. Kasi minsan we try to open up pero ma-invalidate lang naman tayo,
Mm.
'di ba?
That's
So
right.
it's very important to also think of and prayerfully
Mm-hmm.
talaga kung sino ba yung pag-o-open up pa natin.
Yeah.
Again, we also have to be knowledgeable din na if ever there are mental health problems, sa sino ba yung malalapitan natin? Ano ba yung mga institutions na pwede nating puntahan?
Mm-hmm.
And letter P is to pray, of course, to
Yeah.
practice positivity, to praise the Lord. And when we say practice positivity, meron kasing concept ang positive psychology that would say na it's not really about positive thinking,
Mm-hmm.
but it's about doing things that can generate positive
Positive.
emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so for example, we look for things na we would feel good about. And sa research kasi, sinasabi nila na if we do kind deeds every day, that can actually boost our well-being then,
Yeah.
our happiness. And when we practice gratitude, that will also boost our well-being. And these are actually based on research. And if you would read our Bible, the Bible tells us these things, di ba? To
Yeah.
be kind, to be grateful, and also, exercising, which goes back to care, to caring for ourselves. Ganyan. So letter P is really practicing positivity, praying, and yeah, of course, praising the Lord. And letter E, the last one, is to engage,
Yeah.
which is also part of practicing positivity. Kasi when we do things, again, that would create positive emotions that would actually help us have better well-being. And if we would achieve that, syempre, mas makaka-cope talaga tayo with whatever it is that's, going around, lalo na nga talaga ngayon. Yeah.
Gusto ko yung share mo na yun. Hope.
Mm.
I'll remember that. And you
True.
mentioned about lagi naman nating sinasabi when we are helping other is to really seek professional help.
Yeah.
So, having said that, do you have any idea in mind yung mga available institution?
Okay. So, of course, in the Philippines, we have the National Center for
Mm-hmm.
Mental Health. And so that's NCMH. And as far as I know, meron silang e-consultation ngayon, di
Yeah.
ba? So that's something that we can actually make use of. I know they're very helpful and highly trained naman din talaga ang mga professionals natin doon. And I know there are also some doctors. In fact, if we would go to Facebook, ang dami talagang and we search for
Yeah.
crisis hotlines, ang dami, 'di ba? Sa ngayon, ang daming lumalabas
Mm-mm.
online. And like what you mentioned, yun nga, unfortunately, medyo may kamahalan talaga dun sa mga private ones. But yeah, NCMH. And there's this In Touch community services.
Oh, yeah.
They
Mm.
also have this hotline, and they're also available 24/7 para sa mga well-being matters,
Yeah.
and also if someone's triggered, if someone is seeking for emotional support. So that's In Touch community services. They have this 24/7, again, crisis hotline. Maybe I'll just send you the numbers later on.
Sure.
And yeah, the NCMH, and of course the Philippine Mental Health Association.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, ang alam ko, meron din silang mga specialized hotlines for those who are frontliners, for example.
Mm-hmm.
There is another one that I was actually able to come across with, which is they actually give free, parang emotional support din. They actually also give, yeah, free emotional support. I think if I remember it correctly, it's like PH or something like that.
Happy
Na
Mind Club PH ata siya.
Hello Happy, rather.
Yeah,
Hello
Hello
Happy.
Happy. Oh.
Yeah, Hello Happy PH.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as I know nga lang, parang medyo kasi you have to book your slot.
Mm.
Pero I know they also offer free services.
Mm-hmm.
Pero if you have urgent needs, you have to pay, parang
Mm-hmm.
ganun. Pero I think it's not as much as compared to the other private sectors.
Mm-hmm.
Pero if someone naman has, resources, so of course meron din mga private sectors naman na nag-offer. There are really several doctors. I would highly, again, if someone has resources, Dr. Randy Del Llosa, perhaps you've heard of him. He's
Mm-hmm.
really very helpful, and he would uh, he also conducts not online but phone call consultations, ganun.
Mm, I see.
But yeah, but these are psychiatrists, no. For psychologists naman, for Hello Happy, I know they have therapists.
Mm-hmm.
In Touch Community Services, then yeah. For psychiatrists talaga, yung nga NCMH, Philippine Mental Health Association has both. Meron silang psychiatrists and psychologists, and meron kasi silang branches sa Philippines. So, yun.
I see. Okay, so we're down to the last question. Hindi ko napansin yung oras. We're almost an hour talking. Um, so, yun, na-mention mo na yung Coke earlier, pero any other things that you could advise, especially during this pandemic, everyone is working from home, kids are doing online schools. So, how would you, I mean, anong ma-advise mo sa mga tao ngayon who's dealing with stress? Kasi iba talaga yung stress ngayon. And honestly, hindi ko pa sabi na blessing siya, but I guess it gives more awareness to people when we encounter or we had this pandemic. Everyone became more aware that, okay, stress is really there, present. That
Yes.
is causing us to really have difficulties in coping. So, what are the other things that you could perhaps advise to people how they could deal with stress and how they can manage it?
Well, actually, stress can be for our good or for our bad.
Mm.
And it's true enough na talagang nakaka-stress ang buhay ngayon. More so ngayon na
Uh-huh.
don't just have the pandemic, pero recently we've been having a lot of typhoons here
Yeah.
in the country. And para bang, where else, can
Where
we
else you'll
be
go?
we go? What else can we do?
Yes.
A lot of things have been draining us down, putting us down with, and these are things that we can control,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that would stress us out, and we just could not control them, unfortunately. But
Mm-hmm.
what I'd say is that it's good to know again that there are two different kinds of stresses in our
Mm-hmm.
life. The
Mm-hmm.
eustress or the good stress, and the other one is the distress or the bad
Yeah.
stress. And for us, if this, because sometimes din kailangan talaga natin ng stress sa buhay natin because we can actually become more motivated and we become more intelligent, we can have, this growth mindset. But if stress is way too much and hindi na natin kaya, that is, I mean, that's the one that could, lead to distress or bad stress.
Mm-hmm.
And one more thing that I'd say is not a lot of people understand is, yun nga, it's totally different for each of us. What's stressful for you may not be stressful for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally different. But true enough, grabe yung stress natin sa ngayon.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'd say is two things: to know yourself,
Yeah.
because it's when you learn about yourself, like, okay, this is stressful for me, this is not stressful for me. When we kind of know more ourselves, that's when we can parang realign if it's too much na for us or not. Like for example, dahil nga stressful ang buhay, and kahit na we try to avoid getting online, hindi masyadong kaya kasi we have to be
Yeah.
online dahil
Yes.
everything is being done online. Pero if we know ourselves, alam natin yung limit natin, alam natin yung healthy pa ba sa atin or hindi,
Mm-hmm.
we could realign things and we could adjust. And second is know who is in us. Of course, as Christians, we know na we can do nothing on our own, and
Mm-hmm.
it's all about the Lord working in us.
Yeah.
And that second one, I'd say, would be, of course, the most important. Kasi if, even if we know ourselves and we know our limits, we know naman din na greater is He who is in us than He
Yes.
that is in the world. So, and one last, which is in relation to that, is I know that the Lord Himself understands us kung ano ba yung mga stresses na pinagdadaanan natin ngayon. And we may not understand why, or we may not get the answer as to, why we're going through all these things. Pero perhaps this is just, the best way for us to cling more kay Lord.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be, I'd say, my advice: to know ourselves and to know who is in us. And hopefully, si Lord lagi. Yan.
Yes.
So that
I
would be
see.
my
So
advice.
that's our last question. But do you have any parting message or any last words to who will watch this this vlog?
Well, first, thank you again to Thea for this invitation. And I'd also like to thank Abigail, Abby
Mm-hmm.
Pablo, for connecting us.
Yes.
And to those who would be watching this, or who would be able to hear this, hopefully we were able to impart some things that would help you understand better what
Mhm.
mental health is. And hopefully you can also share this with other people, because we actually have limited resources in the Philippines as to the professionals that we have in mental health. So we're really trying our best to advocate as much as we can.
Mhm.
And to there's this one thing na I realized, that we might think na a lot of people do not understand us, especially if we're going through mental health problems. Pero there would still always be some people pa rin naman that would understand us.
Yes.
So
Let's keep advocating for mental health. And I truly believe that this is really a timely season that we're discussing this. And hopefully, mas marami pang doors na mag-open for us to really have that platform to share about mental health. And even though we're struggling with mental health problems, We are not defined by our sickness. Our identity is always in Christ at
Yeah.
the end of the day. So I hope we were able to remind the viewers who will be watching this vlog that our identity, of course, always cling into Christ. So there, that concludes our sharing for today, or like Q&A for our mental health. And hopefully, yung mga nanonood po were able to get that insight. And don't forget to share this to other people too. So thank you so much, Paula, for giving us your time.
Much also. Thank God.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thanks.